Britain faces a critical identity crisis. On one side, there's a push for stricter borders. On the other, an economy crying out for workers. Today we'll unravel this complex issue and explore solutions for a balanced approach to immigration. The numbers tell a compelling story. 52% of Britons believe immigration should be reduced. This statistic underscores the deep divide within the nation as the UK grapples with conflicting pressures. On one hand, there's a growing sentiment to tighten borders and limit the influx of newcomers. On the other, key sectors of the economy are experiencing acute labour shortages, desperately seeking workers to fill crucial roles. This tension between the public sentiment and economic necessity sets the stage for a pivotal moment in British history. The decisions made today about immigration policy will reverberate through generations, shaping the future of the UK's prosperity and social fabric. As we navigate this complex landscape, we must ask, can Britain find a balance that addresses concerns while securing its economic future? As Britain grapples with these pressing questions, we must first understand the catalyst that ignited this debate. Brexit promised to take back control. But did it deliver? The aftermath reveals a paradox that's reshaping Britain's immigration reality in ways few could have predicted. The Brexit referendum of 2016 marked a turning point in Britain's immigration policy, fundamentally altering the nation's approach to borders and national identity. The Leave campaign's narrative of taking back control resonated deeply with voters concerned about immigration, driving a significant portion of the electorate to support leaving the EU. This single vote set in motion a series of changes that would transform the UK's immigration landscape overnight. In the wake of Brexit, the UK government introduced a points-based immigration system that applies equally to EU and non-EU migrants. This new system effectively removed free movement rights for EU citizens, granting the UK greater discretionary control over its borders. The move aligned with public preferences for a more selective immigration process, allowing the government to tailor incoming workforce skills to the needs of the British economy. However, the reality of post-Brexit Britain has proven more complex than anticipated. Despite the introduction of restrictive policies, actual immigration levels have risen to record highs since the referendum. This surprising trend is driven by changes in labour market demands and humanitarian inflows, highlighting a disconnect between policy intentions and outcomes. The government has found itself in the position of liberalising immigration rules to address critical labour shortages in key sectors, even as it maintains a rhetoric of control and restriction. The Stop the Boats campaign, initiated by the Conservative government, exemplifies this paradox. Aimed at addressing rising public concern over irregular migration, the campaign has faced criticism for being impractical and ineffective in quelling anti-immigration sentiments. This disconnect underscores the complexities of managing public opinion on immigration in the post-Brexit era. Expert analysis suggests that Brexit has triggered major shifts in both public opinion and electoral competition over immigration. The referendum not only changed policies, but also reshaped the very nature of the immigration debate in the UK. Political parties have had to navigate a new landscape where traditional left-right divides on immigration have blurred and voter priorities have shifted. The immediate aftermath of Brexit saw significant changes in EU migration patterns. Many EU citizens living in the UK faced uncertainty about their status, leading to a surge in applications for settled status. Simultaneously, the UK saw a decline in EU migration as the allure of easy movement of work rights diminished. This shift has had profound implications for sectors heavily reliant on EU labour, such as healthcare, agriculture, and hospitality. Yet the promise of taking back control has manifested in concrete policy changes that satisfy some while alarming others. Supporters of stricter immigration controls celebrate the end of free movement and introduction of a more selective system. Critics, however, warn of economic consequences and a potential brain drain as skilled EU workers look elsewhere for opportunities. As the dust settles on these new immigration policies, a curious phenomenon is emerging. Despite widespread anti-immigration sentiment, public support for skilled migrants remains surprisingly high. This contradiction is forcing Britain to confront some uncomfortable truths about its economy and workforce. The sectors hit hardest by labour shortages paint a vivid picture of an economy in flux. Healthcare, agriculture and hospitality, pillars of the British economy, are experiencing acute workforce deficits. These industries, heavily reliant on immigration labour, now find themselves scrambling to fill crucial roles. The National Health Service, already under strain, faces a critical shortage of nurses and doctors. Fields lie fallow as farmers struggle to find workers for harvest seasons. Hotels and restaurants grapple with understaffing, impacting service quality and growth potential. Yet amidst this turmoil, a paradox emerges. While overall anti-immigration sentiment runs high, public support for skilled migrants remains strong, particularly in sectors like healthcare. Research indicates that the majority of people favored making immigration easier for healthcare workers. This nuanced public opinion reveals a complex attitude towards immigration, where skills are valued over other factors such as race or ethnicity. This disconnect between policy and public sentiment is reshaping labour market dynamics in unexpected ways. Experts suggest that political reactions to immigration likely have more of an impact on inequality than immigration's direct economic consequences. In other words, the policies enacted in response to anti-immigration sentiment may be exacerbating economic disparities rather than addressing them. This insight challenges conventional wisdom about the relationship between immigration and economic equality. The ripple effect of these policies extend far beyond individual sectors. As businesses adapt to the new reality, innovative solutions are emerging. Some companies and sectors facing labor shortages have responded by increasing wages and improving working conditions to attract workers. This shift, while beneficial for workers, puts pressure on businesses already grappling with rising costs and economic uncertainty. However, these adaptations come at a cost. Higher wages may lead to increased prices for consumers, potentially fueling inflation. Moreover, the focus on attracting domestic workers to traditionally immigrant-heavy sectors may result in labor shortages in other areas of the economy, creating a domino effect of workforce disruption. The rise of misinformation and social media have further complicated the situation. During times of crisis, tensions surrounding immigration have been exacerbated, leading to increased public unrest and anti-immigrant violence. Political narratives that exploit long-simmering tensions over immigration have fueled this unrest, creating a volatile environment that impacts both social cohesion and economic stability. As Britain navigates this complex landscape, the need for a balanced approach becomes increasingly apparent. The challenge lies in crafting policies that address legitimate concerns about immigration while ensuring the economy has access to the skilled workers it needs to thrive. This balancing act requires a nuanced understanding of public sentiment, economic realities, and the long-term consequences of policy decisions. As Britain grapples with its new immigration reality, a crisis is unfolding on the streets, testing the resilience of its multicultural fabric. In June 2023, a tragic stabbing incident involving 3 children in Nottingham became the flashpoint for a surge of anti-immigration violence. False rumors spread rapidly online, erroneously linking the suspect to Muslim immigration. This misinformation ignited a powder keg of long-simmering tensions, leading to far-right protests and riots that quickly spread across multiple UK cities. The events in Nottingham serve as a stark reminder of how fragile social cohesion can be in the face of misinformation and heightened emotions. Far-right groups seized upon the tragedy, using it as a rallying cry to stoke anti-immigrant sentiments. Social media platforms became battlegrounds where false narratives spread like wildfire, outpacing efforts to correct them. A sociologist noted that social media's echo chamber effect encourages individuals to act on their feelings when they see others doing the same, contributing to the rapid escalation of unrest. As the situation spiraled, the violence took on a life of its own. In Rotherham, protesters targeted hotels housing asylum seekers, conflating the tragedy in Nottingham with broader immigration issues. Police faced significant violence, with officers being pelted with bricks and other projectiles. The scale of the unrest prompted a top UK police chief to declare the full force of the law would be applied to those involved, highlighting the severity of the situation. The riots reflected broader tensions over immigration that have been exacerbated by recent government policies. The housing of asylum seekers in hotels, a measure intended to address immigration needs, has become a flashpoint for those who view it as a misallocation of resources amid struggles in public services. This perception, whether accurate or not, has fueled resentment and contributed to the volatile atmosphere surrounding immigration debates. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's condemnation of the riots as far-right thuggery underscores the political dimensions of the unrest. The violence has forced political leaders to confront the consequences of heated rhetoric around immigration and the challenges of maintaining social cohesion in a diverse society. It also highlighted the need for more effective strategies to counter misinformation and promote understanding between communities. Despite the darkness of these events, there has been a glimmer of hope. Communities responded to the unrest have included residents coming together to clean up and support each other, indicating a desire for solidarity amidst rising tensions. These grassroots efforts serve as a reminder of the strength that lies in Britain's multicultural communities and their capacity for resilience in the face of challenges. The recent violence has brought to the forefront the complexities of Britain's changing demographic landscape. As the country becomes increasingly diverse, with an educated electorate representing a wide range of backgrounds, simplistic anti-immigration narratives are being challenged. This shift is forcing a re-evaluation of what it means to be British in the 21st century and how the nation can navigate its multicultural identity while addressing legitimate concerns about immigration and integration. As public opinion on immigration undergoes a dramatic transformation, political parties are scrambling to adapt. The Brexit referendum not only changed policies, but reshaped the very nature of the immigration debate in the UK. Traditional party lines are blurring, and voter allegiances are shifting in unexpected ways. This new political landscape is forcing both major parties to reassess their strategies and appeal in an evolving electorate. The Conservative Party, long seen as the party of immigration control, now faces a formidable challenge. As demographic changes leads to more liberal electorate, with younger and more educated voters increasingly supporting immigration, the Conservatives find themselves at a crossroads. Their historical reputation as the party of border control is being tested by Labour's growing pro-immigration base. In response to rising anti-immigration sentiment, particularly among their base, the Conservative Party has shifted towards appealing to immigration-skeptic voters. This move, however, is not without risks. The failure of the government's Stop the Boats campaign illustrates the changing dynamics of immigration politics. Instead of reassuring anti-immigration voters, it has backfired, alienating pro-immigration supporters and failing to address the complex realities of immigration. On the other side of the aisle, the Labour Party has gained traction among pro-immigration constituents. This shift has created a potential electorate coalition that could dominate future electorates. Research indicates that Labour voters tend to express more positive attitudes towards immigration compared to the Conservative voters, with 48% of Labour voters viewing immigration positively versus only 90% of Conservative voters. The political landscape has become a battleground where immigration has re-emerged as a key issue. Far-right groups are capitalizing on public fears and misinformation to mobilize support, further complicating the mainstream party's efforts to find a balanced approach. This volatile environment challenges both major parties to navigate carefully between addressing legitimate concerns and avoiding inflammatory rhetoric that could exacerbate social tensions. As the parties navigate this shifting landscape, they face the challenge of balancing economic needs with public sentiment on immigration. The Conservative government has found itself in the paradoxical position of liberalising immigration rules to address critical labour shortages in key sectors, even as it maintains a rhetoric of control and restriction. This disconnect underscores the complexities of managing public opinion on immigration in the post-Brexit era. Data suggests that the public mood is no longer instinctively hostile on immigration, reflecting a significant change in how immigration is perceived in the political area since Brexit. This shift presents both opportunities and challenges for political parties, those who can effectively address the nuanced concerns of voters while presenting a vision for a prosperous, diverse Britain may find themselves an electoral advantage. Looking ahead, the immigration debate is likely to shape future elections and policy-making in profound ways. Experts predict that parties capable of articulating a coherent, balanced approach to immigration, one that addresses economic needs, social concerns, and humanitarian obligations, will be best positioned to succeed. The challenge lies in crafting policies that are both pragmatic and politically palatable, a task that requires nuanced understanding and skilled communication. As Britain navigates its new immigration landscape, an unexpected shift is occurring beyond its shores. International perceptions of the UK are evolving, potentially altering the nation's global influence. What unseen consequences await as Britain redefines its identity in a connected world? The UK's stance on immigration is reverberating far beyond its borders, raising concerns about the country's global influence and attractiveness. Once celebrated for its openness and diversity, Britain now faces scrutiny from international allies and trading partners. This shift in perception could have far-reaching implications for the nation's role on the world stage. Interestingly, while anti-immigration sentiment remains high in certain circles, public support for immigration has actually risen. A recent survey revealed that Britons increasingly recognize the vital contributions of migrants, particularly in sectors like health and social care. This evolving public sentiment highlights the complex nature of the immigration debate and its impact on Britain's international image. The UK's current immigration system, with its points-based framework prioritizing skilled migrants, reflects a selective approach that aligns with public sentiment. However, this system has drawn mixed reactions from the international community. Some view it as a pragmatic solution to workforce needs, while others see it as a potential barrier to global talent and cultural exchange. Prime Minister Keir Starmer's condemnation of recent anti-immigrant riots as far-right thuggery underscores the government's challenge in balancing domestic concerns with international perceptions. The handling of such incidents shapes how the world views Britain's commitment to inclusivity and multiculturalism, key aspects of its power. The perception of the UK as a welcoming nation is under threat, potentially impacting its ability to attract global talent and investment. This shift could have long-term consequences for Britain's competitiveness in the global economy. As other countries actively court international talent, the UK risks losing its edge in innovation and economic growth as it's seen as less open and diverse. Experts warn that Britain's current anti-immigration stance may lead to a diminished role in international affairs. The decision made today about immigration policy will echo through generations, determining Britain's future prosperity and social harmony. This high-stakes situation requires careful consideration of both short-term political pressures and long-term global positioning. The UK's immigration policies are also influencing its relationships with key allies and trading partners. As the country seeks to forge new economic partnerships post-Brexit, its stance on movement of people could become a sticking point in negotiations. Countries may be less inclined to offer favorable trade terms if they perceive barriers to their citizens working or studying in the UK. Moreover, Britain's approach to immigration is being closely watched by other nations grappling with similar challenges. The UK's policies and their outcomes could serve as a model or a cautionary tale for other countries, further amplifying the global impact of Britain's decisions. As Britain charts its course in this new era, it faces a delicate balancing act. Can the nation address domestic concerns about immigration while maintaining its global competitiveness and influence? The answer to this question will likely shape not just Britain's future, but potentially influence immigration policies worldwide. As we've explored, Britain's anti-immigration politics have sparked profound consequences. The nation faces economic tremors, with key sectors grappling with labour shortages. Social fabric is under strain as misinformation fuels unrest and challenges multicultural harmony. The political landscape has shifted, forcing parties to reassess their strategies. Globally, Britain's stance is altering perceptions and potentially diminishing its influence. Can Britain find a balance between addressing legitimate concerns and maintaining its global competitiveness? The path forward requires nuanced policy-making that considers economic needs and social cohesion, and international relations. As demographic changes lead to a more liberal electorate, the challenge lies in crafting an approach that resonates with evolving public sentiment while ensuring economic prosperity. The stakes are high. The decisions made today will echo through generations, shaping not just Britain's future, but potentially influencing immigration policies worldwide. The need for informed, balanced debate has never been more critical.